Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we return to talking about and defending one of our favorite actors in Hollywood, and one of the only based, God-fearing, conservative-leaning personalities still out there, Chris Pratt. As we've gone over repeatedly in other stories and videos on this channel, the left-leaning mainstream media and the liberal-run Hollywood system, they all love coming after Mr. Pratt whenever they can, because not only is Chris Pratt straight, white, and a male, he's also a Christian and extremely popular right now too. So obviously SJWs want to attack him then, and try and go after someone who's so in contrast with their own identities and ideals. Well, that makes leftists want to put Chris in his place, at least according to them. There is a big problem here though. The problem is, Chris Pratt is a golden boy. He's a Boy Scout who's pretty much never done anything wrong, so when the lefties come and try and attack the guy, they almost always come up with the most weak and lame attacks ever, that usually aren't even anything bad he actually did. For example, earlier this year around the 4th of July holiday, Chris Pratt was attacked for wearing a pro-America Don't Tread on Me t-shirt. Leftists had some bogus claim going along with that too, saying this shirt made him a bigot now, but we all know they attacked him for other, more nefarious reasons. And now, today, we've got another new SJW and another silly as hell attack being slung at our guy, Chris P. This time, Pratt is being attacked by an interesting and high-profile SJW too, none other than a fellow actor and fellow comic book hero portrayer, Aquaman himself. Jason Momoa is coming after Chris. Jason decided to attack Chris probably because he's jealous Pratt's movies are better than his, such as his own comic book series Guardians of the Galaxy and the MCU, which are doing much better than Aquaman and the DC Cinematic Universe. Also, we can tell someone like Momoa is going to be pushing progressive, hippy-dippy, save the world kind of bullshit right out the gate. I mean, look at the guy. He looks like he hasn't showered in weeks, and he probably hangs out at Burning Man or something. But whatever the real reasons for this attack may be, the way Jason ended up criticizing Chris will ultimately make us and any other sane person laugh our asses off. As the title of this video suggests, the issue in question here is related to Chris Pratt using a water bottle. Apparently he posted some kind of workout photo with him holding a plastic water bottle, and since recycling and global warming prevention is so trendy with leftists and hipsters right now, Jason Momoa decided to dive in, pun intended, and try and tell Chris no here. He acts like he speaks from authority, saying, "Hey Chris, you're a bad no-no. Using plastics is a wrong. This can't be done here." Jason, of course, acting like he's Chris Pratt's mother or something. For more details on Chris being called out for using a water bottle like how billions of other people do across the globe, well, let's first turn to an article from EcoWatch about it called "Chris Pratt Poses with Plastic Water Bottle, Gets Called Out by Jason Momoa." This should be good. Let's go ahead and check it out. Chris Pratt was called out on social media by Game of Thrones star Jason Momoa after Pratt posted an image low-key flexing with a single-use plastic water bottle. "Bro, I love you, but WTF on the water bottle," Momoa commented on Pratt's Instagram account. "No single-use plastic, come on." And then below this section is the picture in question, a seemingly innocent post from Chris's Instagram where he's doing a promotion about working out with Amazon. A normal person would just look at this and think, hey, it's a pretty normal shot and not controversial in the slightest, but apparently Jason Momoa thought this was worth calling Chris out for and starting all of this water bottle drama. This was a very hypocritical thing for Jason to do too, since, as you'll soon see later on in this video, Momoa has used plastic water bottles like this all the time too. But for now, let's stay focused on this pro-Jason Momoa coverage coming from this EcoWatch article, who is apparently some kind of pro-environment liberal think tank or some other nonsense, because they too seem to think this criticism of Pratt is valid. It's not though. You're all reaching because you hate the guy for other reasons. We're on to you, and your attempts to go after Chris are looking very desperate and making your side look weak too. Also, for the record, Jason Momoa hasn't been on Game of Thrones since 2012, so I don't really know if calling him a Game of Thrones star here, like how this article says, is really appropriate, especially considering he's gotten even more famous recently while playing Aquaman over the last 2 years. But regardless, let's move on anyway. Pratt added that he normally brings along a reusable gallon jug to the gym, and even had it with him on the day of the photograph. "My bad, I don't want your home of Atlantis covered in plastic. Hear that, kids? Reduce, reuse, recycle," he wrote to the Aquaman star. Momoa later popped back onto social media to post a public apology to Pratt. "I'm sorry this was received so badly today. I didn't mean for that to happen," he wrote. "I'm just very passionate about this single-use plastic epidemic." Well, at least Momoa realized he was being a big jerk and ended up apologizing. Really, this all shouldn't have happened at all. Obviously, Jason got swept up into this anti-plastic, pro-environment, global warming-like hysteria being pushed by left-wingers everywhere right now. And as I've said time time and time again, I'm of course all for saving the planet and getting greener and being more environmentally friendly. We all should be, but also, at the same time, I'm not going to buy into all this end of days, impending apocalypse, the world is going to end in 12 years bullshit either. We don't need to fearmonger this situation at all. Basically, liberals are ruining a good cause like protecting the environment by politicizing and overhyping it. Sure, we do still need to be careful and more reasonable, and some necessary steps will have to be made, but calling out actors for drinking out of water bottles at a gym isn't going to help. Here, we're just seeing Jason Momoa try and virtue signal, and also, he's signal boosting off of Pratt's greater popularity. Sure, Jason has gotten very famous recently for playing Aquaman, but Chris Pratt has been a household name since 2014. This increased popularity and his pro-right, conservative-leaning lifestyle, well, as we said time and time again, these are the real kinds of reasons that people keep attacking Chris. Next, let's talk more about Jason Momoa and his apology, because as I said earlier, after he made this call out, Jason immediately got egg on his face since there are loads of photos of him online using plastic disposable water bottles himself. And sure, it could be said the guy turned a new leaf and has recently stopped personal use of them, but this still makes his call out of Chris Pratt very hypocritical. It's like if, say, a new vegan started calling you out for eating meat and killing animals and ruining the environment and stuff. And then if you know that person well, you can be like, hey, dude, you were eating meat your whole life up until like 3 months ago. So yeah, even though that person changed, they still look stupid for being so obnoxious about their new pet cause, just like what's going on with Jason M. With that said, here's a pretty great tweet from Brittany on Twitter, who shows us how contradictory Jason's complaint is when compared to this easily findable picture of him with the water bottle. Not only is he sitting around 3 water bottles himself, Jason is also drinking one right in this picture. And if you think about it, Jason's picture here is actually more incriminating according to his pro-environment angle and cause, because Momoa actually has been caught drinking out of his water bottle here, while Chris's photo just shows him holding one. And Chris even said he had a reusable jug that he brings with him to workouts there that day too, but what's Jason's excuse for this photo then? I guess he could say, oh well, I only got into this recycling environmental shit in the last year or so, and then I would say to that, well, it must not be really that important to you or to the world if you've only cared about it for like 1 year or 1 or 2% of your entire life. Next, we got a Twitter user named Zach who really roasts Jason Momoa with this hot take tweet. Claims humans are a disease yet had kids. Demonizes Pratt for posing with a water bottle yet has drank out of plastic water bottles multiple times. Jason Momoa is the biggest hypocrite ever. Haha, do as I say, not as I do. Well put, sir. Jason is acting like a typical liberal right here for sure. Could even be a candidate for my new series, It's Okay When Liberals Do It, because apparently Jason thinks that's true for him and his ilk. He says anti-human, anti-American bullshit, but he still has kids of his own. And then he attacked Chris Pratt for using disposable water bottles when he clearly has repeatedly too. What a joke. This is really sad for me too, specifically because although I haven't said it yet in this video, but Jason Momoa is a really good actor who does have some pretty good work out there. I've really enjoyed him on Game of Thrones and as Aquaman. He looks good, has good character, and can be very charismatic and funny too, but this whole pro-environment going lefty thing is not a good look, and it's turning me off. And him trying to bring down Chris Pratt while he does it, Chris Pratt being a living legend, well, that just makes my view of Jason Momoa go more and more downhill even faster. Lastly, we got one more tweet with 2 new additional pictures of Momoa hypocritically using plastic water bottles himself. And then this Bounding into Comics article ends with this bit about Jason backpedaling. Momoa would write, bro, you know my children and I are madly in love with you and I love everything you do. I'm sorry this was received so badly today. I didn't mean for that to happen. He added, I'm just very passionate about this single-use plastic epidemic. The plastic water bottles have to stop. I hope you make a reusable water bottle for Amazon so we all can purchase. Momoa concluded by offering to send Pratt a case of Mananalu, which is his brand of drinking water that is packaged in aluminum cans. You're an inspiration to many, I'm one of them. I'll send you a can of Mananalu, all my aloha da Momoas. Okay, wow. So as if this couldn't get any worse for the guy, Jason Momoa actually was just pretending to care about the environment so he could scare people into buying his own product, water in a can. Damn, the plot is really thickening here, huh? Not too surprising though, since most liberals who fearmonger people about climate change and stuff, pushing this end of the world hysteria, well, they're all usually doing it to push or sell something in the end. Democrats and politicians use the threat of an apocalypse to get people to vote for them, and then to get their own socialist big government policies passed too. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is one big example of this that comes to mind, and she's she's certainly guilty of fear-mongering and using the environment to get her way. How could we forget the time Alex tried to get her socialist policy plan, the Green New Deal, passed by telling people the world is going to end in 12 years because of cow farts? Many other leftists have used this strategy recently too, and now it appears Aquaman's actor Jason Momoa has become one of them. He's using the cause and the environmental angle to try and sell water in a can, and he's also attacking Chris as a way to sell his products. Finally, before we go today, I want to briefly go over one more story about Chris Pratt getting attacked this week in public. This time it's a more low-key implied attack coming from his ex-wife Anna Faris, which I thought was rather suspicious too, since this story and attack came out at about the same time the water bottle controversy sparked up too. This article from Fox has more details. It's called "Anna Faris Says an Ex Cheated on Her. There Was That Gut Feeling." That's an interesting way to put things, isn't it? Let's read on more first, and then I'll tell you what I think is really going on. Anna Faris opened up about her past experience with an unnamed significant other cheating on her during their relationship. Faris sat down for an interview on her Anna Faris's Unqualified podcast with Kat Von D, where the two women discussed how they coped in the past when they learned their significant other had stepped outside the relationship with another woman. Speaking on the December 2nd episode, Faris explained that she confronted the unnamed man in her life at the time, but was so bowled over by his denial that she began to question her own intuition. Okay, well, the way I see things here, there's no way this was Chris Pratt who she's talking about in this story, but Anna does purposely leave her story open-ended and ambiguous, so it appears she's actually trying to imply it could be Chris, even though I think we all know it wasn't. Basically, Anna is being intentionally vague here so that some could and might think this was Chris Pratt she's talking about when she says someone cheated on her. We all know that couples get into fights and they often get bitter in big divorces like this too, so that's probably what's going on. Anna has even admitted to some of this in her own words before too, saying she's bitter about the divorce, and also she admitted one time that it was hard for her to cope with becoming the less famous one in their relationship, since Anna was much more famous when she was in the Scary Movie franchise in the mid-2000s, which was earlier in the couple's careers, and lately Chris Pratt got super mega famous in 2014, and his fame got bigger and lasted longer than Anna's ever did. So the way I see it then, Anna is just trying to get a low-key dig in at Chris here, because of their breakup and her being anti-Chris right now. And in addition, it quickly becomes clear that Anna is an SJW type too now, especially when you read over this next section with me. Just take a look at this part. She continued, "Not to be too gender specific, I do think as women we're sort of taught to suppress fear or suspicion because we might be deemed as suspicious or neurotic or crazy." Well, yeah, if you are suspicious, then someone might call you suspicious. That's not even an insult. Faris explained that years later, she learned that her intuition was correct and that the man had been cheating on her. Cool story. You caught some other asshole cheating on you, and now you're implying it might have been Chris because you're bitter about your recent divorce. And in addition, she tries to make this a sexism against women kind of thing too, when really it's not. And I think this proves that she's really doubling down with the SJWs as well, who are always all too happy to go after Mr. Pratt, as we've seen time and time again. Next, this whole bit about women being taught to suppress fear or suspicion, it's total BS. This doesn't happen, and if it does, it's not just a thing that girls have to deal with. Guys have to learn to not be suspicious, needy, or jealous, or everything too, and guys will often get told not to be too suspicious about cheating, or you could ruin the relationship yourself. Maybe since Anna's a girl, she thinks she's special, and this just happens to her, but I have to say, you're dead wrong, lady. And Anna and Jason Momoa going after Chris today, well, they were all totally wrong too, and they were all doing it for their own personal and mostly political reasons. None of it had anything to do with Chris Pratt actually doing anything wrong. Really, his only crime is being too good looking and being too pure and too successful and just too damn likable too. What do you guys think? Should Chris Pratt have come under fire for using a plastic water bottle? Was Jason Momoa really mad about that, or was he just trying to sell his own water bottle alternative? And do you think Anna Faris was implying Chris Pratt cheated on him in that podcast? Comment your thoughts on everything below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. Also, special thanks to people who have been donating to my GoFundMe to help raise money to do my own public DNA test in a video coming up soon. We're still going to raise funds for about another week, so link to that below if you still want to donate, and then the video should be coming out in another month or so. Thanks for your patience on that, and thanks for your time today, and thanks for watching this video. Until next time, have a good one, everybody.